What's up, guys? It's Gus with Backcountry Rookies, and today I'm going to be showing you how I do my European mounts. Before we get started, I'm just going to go over kind of everything that you're going to need. Obviously, whatever school you're wanting to do the mount with, you're going to want some aluminum foil, baking soda, a couple good knives. We are going to be boiling today, so you're going to want something to boil with and something to boil on. I really don't recommend doing this in the house because things are going to smell a little funky after a while. A paintbrush, and then most importantly, volume 40 cream and lightener powder. You can find this at like a local Sally's Beauty Supply or something like that. I haven't been able to find them at Walmart. Your Walmart might have them, but you're definitely going to want to go get this stuff, right? This stuff, the lightener powder, you can get for little packets, really cheap, like $1 each. You only need one of them. I got a big container of it because I do this a lot. So just look for the small packets wherever you go down to the local beauty supply store. You're going to have to go in there. It might feel a little funny, but just go in there, ask the lady, they'll help you out. Get volume 40 cream, and then you'll be out. So the first step in this process will actually be to take the cape and everything off, the actual head. This deer came to me like that, so I'm not going to show you it. But once you do that, you're going to want to go around it and pick all this extra stuff off. And just kind of pick this thing clean and get as much extra off as you can before you start the boiling process. That'll just help speed things up. The water won't have to work as hard to boil everything, and you can kind of shorten the time on it a little bit. So stay tuned, and we'll start boiling next. All right, so we got this guy pretty much picked clean to where, I mean, good enough, I guess. And we're getting ready to start the boiling process, or I say boiling, but really it's more of a simmer. And I'll show you guys what I mean here in a little bit. But what we're going to do next, or what I like to do next, and this might be a little bit overkill. I'm kind of anal about things, so if this step really doesn't matter, feel free to comment and let me know so I can stop being so paranoid. But what I like to do now is take tinfoil, and what I do is I wrap the antlers right at the base, so that there's you don't have to worry about any type of discoloration when you're putting it under heat for a while. So what I do is just take tinfoil and very simply just go right along the edge, okay? Just right, nice and easy along the edge there. And that's just gonna help to protect these antlers when you're putting it underneath that hot water and everything. So we'll wrap this up real quick and then take you over to the boiling process when I'm done here. All right, so here you see it. We have the skull in the water now. This is our first, I guess, boil you'd call it, but you really don't want to boil this stuff. You want to bring it to a simmer and just keep it at a simmer. If you boil it, things can start to get too hot and you can start losing teeth and stuff like that. So you don't want to do that. But what I do is I bring the water to a simmer, and then I leave it in there and I let it simmer for about 20 minutes and pull it out, and then we'll start washing it off and scraping some of that meat and stuff off. So 20 minutes each. I do this 3 times. First is just plain water, and then the next one will be with Dawn dish soap, and then the next one will be with the baking soda. So you'll see the rest of these, but just really important to make sure you don't let it boil, you just bring it to a simmer. All right, so we've taken the head out of our steaming water, and the next step is to start washing it off, right? So you don't absolutely have to have a pressure washer, but I highly recommend it because it makes things a whole hell of a lot easier. If not, just go to the sink and start scrubbing. Get a toothbrush, get some wire brush, and scrub. If you don't have a pressure washer, find a friend that has a pressure washer, because this makes everything a lot easier. And all we're going to do is just go over it, and everything that's not complete skull, we're just going to take off. So stay tuned. Alright, I just want to show you all something really quick. So as you can see right here, I hope the sun's kind of messing with me right now. Here's kind of the roof of the mouth. You see what's hanging there? That's like the actual roof right there. So what I did is just came in from the top with the pressure washer and got in behind it, and you can push all that down. And that just makes getting this off a lot easier. So just a quick little tip along the way. We're still washing. All right, so we just got done with the first wash. As you can see, there's still a good bit of chunks of meat and cartilage and stuff like that on there. It's really easy to get lazy with that first pressure wash. I do it all the time. Try not to, because the more you get off the first time, the easier it's going to be later on, and the less greasy things are going to get. So I'm guilty of it myself. Just if you can break it loose with the pressure washer, just keep pushing it until you get it all off. So the next step we're going to do is literally the exact same thing, except for now, instead of just plain water, we're boiling water and Dawn dish soap. So I don't have a specific measurement on how much dish soap to use. I just put a very liberal amount in there. The worst that's going to happen is things get bubbly, so don't skimp on the dish soap. Also, you can see we kind of blew some of our aluminum foil away. So all I'm going to do is just kind of go on and repackage this stuff, just kind of get it all back down again, protect it up a little bit. Like I said at the beginning, this is probably unnecessary, but I do it just to be safe. So I'd rather be safe than have some discoloration at the bottom. Just a quick extra step. All right, so we're at the end of the second simmer process here. You can see just the one with the Dawn dish soap. Here's a little trick. If you put too much water in your pot or whatever, and you don't want to fully submerge your skull into the antlers and everything, just put a little rod up like this. A little 2x4 is what I used on this one. A stick, anything like that, just to brace it across and keep it from going all the way under. So what we're going to do next is just pull this out and take it back down and pressure wash it. All right, so we got done with the second washing. What you guys didn't get to see is I already started the next batch here, and we're getting ready to simmer. It's just water, but this time I put a whole box of baking soda in there. So just an 8-ounce box. Poured the whole thing in there. We're just getting a little crunch for time. I'm running on a daylight here right now. So what we're going to do is pick through this thing and kind of scrape off everything that we can, all the little extra gunks and stuff like that. And then we're also going to reach in here to the nasal cavity and pull all that stuff out, or as much as we can. So I'm going to set the camera back up on the tripod here, and we'll get to it. All right, so like I said, we're going to jump in here, and first off, just get a pair of like needle nose pliers. And what you want to do is just reach in there, grab as much as you can, and kind of just twist and pull and get this cartilage out of here. So it's really important that you get in there and get as much out as you can, because this is the stuff that's going to sneak up on you and start to stink after a while. And you don't want that. No, I don't. So just reach in there. Be careful. If your water gets too hot or whatever, sometimes these little pieces right here can kind of start to separate and stuff like that. So just make sure you're not breaking it. If they do separate, it's not that big of a deal. You can kind of just take some super glue and glue it back together and rub it smooth. You won't even notice once you're done with this whole process, but just get in there, get as much out as you can. See, look at all that junk. Also be careful not to break right down here. These kind of separates. It's really easy to really separate it, especially after it gets hot for a little while. So that's why it's so important not to boil this stuff when you're actually got it in the water. You just want to get it to a simmer. Just get it to where that water's just dancing around. I like to do this after the second boil, or simmer rather. Just that first one's really kind of just the initial like shock, and get the rest, or the main chunks of meat around everything out. And that second one's kind of really in there to finish it. That's why you put that Dawn dish soap in there. It really cuts the grease, gets that stuff out of there. And then, like I said with the pressure washing, just don't be lazy. If you can get it out now. Get it out while you can. I was even with this one right now, like I said, I was lazy on this one, on the initial wash, and I had to go back and spend a little extra time on the second one, pressure washing stuff out. So if you can break it loose, just break it loose and keep working on it until you get it out. After you get this nasal cavity good and clean, you're ready to do the next simmer. You can see right here, we got it good and clean in there. So just get as much out as you can. Just keep working on it, keep picking at it, keep prying at it. As long as you're not breaking the school, you're not breaking anything, you're not doing any harm, you're going to have to get it out at some point. So, but once you're done with this, we're going to put her back in for another simmer, this time in the baking soda. The baking soda is really going to help, again, clean it up, kind of take some of the stink away from it, and really start to aid in the whitening process once we get to that part. So stay tuned. We're going to dunk her in for another, hopefully final time. All right, so here we are. We got the baking soda water simmering down now. As you can see, we wrapped the antlers again, and we're going to dunk it in. Hopefully this is the last time we have to do it. Just get it to where you're nice and set up there. You have to take your little support board, get it right where the antlers are totally submerged. Or I guess rather the skull is totally submerged. Sometimes you have to play with it a little bit. But there you have it. We're going to let that do its thing for another 20 minutes or so and then take it out, pressure wash it again. All right guys, so we just got done with the final pressure wash after we simmered it in baking soda. As you can see, everything's pretty much good and clean. This is a really dark schooled buck, so normally after that baking soda they come out pretty white. This one's still real dark, but it shouldn't be an issue once we start bleaching them and everything. What we're going to do now, kind of the last step, or second to last step, is just, I'm going to hang it up and let it dry overnight. You want this thing to be completely and totally dry. It's been boiling 3 different times now. It's got moisture kind of stuck all over in it. So we just want to let this skull get good and dry. That way when we start adding on our little whitening solutions, they take really well, and nothing kind of, you don't get any moisture trapped in there because you can kind of start to get rot and stuff like that. You don't want that. So anyhow, that's what we're going to do. Tonight is Christmas Eve, so I know this video won't get out in time to say Merry Christmas. So I want to take the time now to just say Merry Christmas to everyone, and hopefully I have it out, or we have it out before the New Year. So if nothing else, Happy New Year's, guys. But everyone have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time with your family. We're going to go let this buck dry, and we'll whiten him tomorrow. So you guys take care. Alrighty, so we're back and ready to start the next process of doing this head. As you can see, that last boil really did a good job, and that baking soda kind of whitened everything up. You could tell it used to be a lot darker around here, and it's lightened up a lot. So without further ado, the next thing we're going to do is just take some saran wrap or plastic wrap. We're going to get into it, and you want to go around the base of the antlers right here. And this is going to help protect the antlers from getting any bleach on them, because that's what we're going to do after this, is we're going to start applying that bleach. So I just take saran wrap, just very carefully wrap it right around the base. Try not to cover any of the skull really, but not allow any of the antler to be exposed, because when we go through this with a paintbrush, we don't want to accidentally hit those antlers and then cause some discoloration. So the next step is going to be to actually mix this stuff up. So this is where you take your volume 40 cream and your lightener powder, and you're going to mix everything together. And I'm going to wrap this bowl real quick just to keep the bowl protected. That way I can keep using it. I don't have to throw it away or anything. But this stuff is real simple. If you just go to the store and get those little packets I was talking about, you just get like 1 or 2 maybe, and there's really no specific measurements that I use. I really just typically get this to like the consistency of yogurt is about what I do. It really doesn't matter, kind of whatever consistency you want. But I just take, you know, about that much powder, and then we'll fill it up with the volume 40 cream here. Just another couple ounces. And then just take this stuff and mix it together. You don't want it too runny, just because it can fall off the skull, or it'll slide off the skull real easy, and you want it to kind of stick on there a little bit, help bleach, let the bleach do its work. And you also don't want it too thick, just because it'll stick there a little too much, and when you go to wash it, if you have not a lot of water pressure with whatever you're rinsing it off with, it can kind of get stuck in some of these nooks and crannies, and you'll have to go over it later with a paper towel or something like that, and that's just kind of a pain in the butt in my opinion. So here we are. Got it right about to where I want it to be a little thick. And it's like mixing pancake batter. You can just, if you got too much of one thing, just add a little bit more of the other. And there's that. I'm gonna get the rest of the stuff out, and we'll get ready to put this stuff on. So we're back, and we're ready to start putting this stuff on. So get you some gloves. You don't want to get this stuff on your hands because it'll burn pretty bad. And then just something that you can set the skull in, or on. Cardboard box works great too, just to not get bleach all over everything else. So I'm going to try to get this in the best place for you guys to see it. But all we're going to do is literally just take this stuff and paint it on. And I know this stuff is blue, that's just the color of the powder. It'll come out white when we're done with it. Those other packets of whitener powder, typically they're white. But this is it right here. All we do, just take this, be real careful around the base of the antlers, just in case. And we're just going to paint this stuff all over everything. When you get down here to the teeth, it's really kind of shooter's preference on what you want. Some guys like them real white. I prefer to keep a little color on them, so I typically just go over them once real quick. So that'll whiten them up a little bit, but it'll keep kind of that natural color in there. I don't know, I think that looks kind of cool, so that's typically what I do with them. And you just throw it over. Do the same thing on the bottom here. Now the back side obviously doesn't matter as much, but I figure we're here, we might as well give it a good lather in at least once. Really kind of a mindless process at this point. When you flip it over like this is a good time to get the top of the eye sockets. That's definitely a high vis area when it's hanging up on the wall. So definitely get in there real good. If you want, I know some guys like more of that natural type color. So once you do the boil with the baking soda and everything, you might not even want to do this. I just did a mule deer not long ago, and it really didn't need any bleach at all after I was done with it, but I just did one quick round. So typically you only need to do this once, maybe twice, depending on the level of whiteness that you want. If you want it really, really bleach white, then you can do it a couple times. It's not going to hurt anything. While we're doing this would be a good time for you guys to scroll down and click like and subscribe to this channel. I know Chad's doing a lot of good things right now with Backcountry Rookies. He's putting together a lot of good content. I think it's going to be beneficial for everybody. So definitely jump on the subscribe train. And there we have it. Just pretty much do a quick once over. Make sure you got everything good and covered. At this point, this is where I kind of start to go just gob stuff on and places that I want it. Things to be wider maybe. And that's it right there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this sit for about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna take it down and we're gonna rinse it off and see where we need to go from there. All right, so we've let it sit for 20 minutes or so now. And then, like I said, the next process is very simply, we're just gonna wash it off. So make sure you got your gloves on again. Try to wear a shirt that you don't care if you get a little bleach stain in it or something like that, because this could get a little messy. But we're going to be real careful and take our time with it. So here we go. All right, so we just got done washing them off, getting them rinsed off. One thing I like to do is take all this plastic wrap off now, just in case when you're washing it off, rinsing it off, anything got in there. You can take it off and kind of let that air out as well. If you see maybe a little bit of bleach or something that slid up there by accident, you can dry it off. But what we're going to do now is everything looks pretty good. He's still pretty dark down here. So that just might be his skull. We might need to do another round of whitening, which isn't any big deal. That's pretty common actually. Normally I do too. But for now, what we'll do is let it dry again. So it's pretty late. I'm going to let it dry overnight. But one thing you can do is just hang it up with a fan and let a fan blow on it for like an hour or so. And then come back and we'll see how white he is. And if we need to do another round, we'll do another round. All right, so we're back. Let the buck dry overnight, and he looks pretty good. As you can tell, he's still a little dark, not quite the whiteness that I wanted, as I suspected. So not a big deal, that's pretty normal. All we're gonna do is literally repeat that same process. So we got our bleach mix. The only thing I did different this time is I make this a little thinner. That way it's easier to rinse off and I don't get too crazy with the whiteness and everything. But that's it, that's all we're gonna do is just put on the solution again and then rinse it off after 20 minutes. So here he is, finished product. Like I said, all we did is just put another bleaching solution on it, took him, or let it set for 20 minutes, took him down, washed him off, and then I hung him up to dry for about an hour. I just put a fan in front of it and let that get all good and dry. So from here, there really isn't too much else to it. But really the next way is just depending on how you want to hang it. You can build a cool little mount out of like a piece of log or something like that. You can get those skull hooker things. All I do is just drill a hole right back here and then hang it on a screw on the wall and it'll sit just like that. It's simple. That looks coolest to me, I think. And that's really it, guys. So again, like I said, this is a really simple method, really easy as you can see. Doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of effort. If you got any questions, feel free to comment below and I'll get back to you. Be sure to go subscribe to Backcountry Rookies. Chad's doing a lot of great things. And if not, have fun out in the woods. And hope you guys are able to start doing your own European mounts. Thanks.